Hello, everyone. This is Daniel P. This is going to be a first of its kind because I don't really do dedication videos, especially for those who have recently passed, because I feel it's a little bit strange and awkward for strangers to say that they've known a famous person, as personally as their family members. Um, that's just me, but right now it's very important for me to do this uh, because we are talking about someone who has been really influential, not just to me, but to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And recently, David Bowie has passed. He died on Sunday, and I got the news about it from my sister last night as I was leaving work. And I was a little bit saddened the fact that we lost someone who was just a stunning inspiration in so many ways and in so many fields. But it's not it's not really tragic because we didn't lose someone who was at the peak of his fame and life and then got cut short. It's someone who actually lived a long life and actually passed away in a similar way that George Harrison did. So I think it's really important for me to discuss my my feelings for David Bowie because I am in debt to the kind of uh, the kind of life and the kind of adventurous spirit that he had. Because when I came across David Bowie, there were so many things about him that really that said a lot about kind of things that I went through and I'm going through right now as a person. Um, One of the major things that really took me by surprise was the kind of achievements he made as a performer, whether that's fashion, the music he made, obviously, or the his career as an actor. And right now, I am really inspiring myself, and I'm really putting in a lot of time to be a actor. But I also do other things as well, and just that alone, his artistic accomplishments are enough to make anyone be wowed by David Bowie's life and time. But another thing that was also amazing to find out about David Bowie, and I think this is probably the most important thing about him, and also the thing that really connects the work he did, especially in his music, and that was this sense of trying to reach out to the unfortunate, misunderstood misfits, freaks, and people who were just down on their luck. This sense of sympathy and empathy and trying to reach out the to the neglected people of the world. Um, I think that's actually that was part of David Bowie's philosophy. That was a thought that he kept very close to him, and I think that was part of his spirituality. He had a very humanistic part of his personality and just his his himself. And I think that's also probably an English trait because I've noticed that there are some famous British figures who seem to have this sympathy for unfortunate or misfortunate people. And I think trying to reach out and to share that sympathy and that empathy is actually part of that British way of life, although that's just a theory of mine. But whether with his British upbringing, if the point is he had that no matter what. And I think that is the most important thing that David Bowie gave to people. And I think that was something that was rare to have, especially among people in his generation. I think it's even rarer now to find people who have that same type of feeling and just common thought for the world. Not saying that it's hopeless now. I'm just saying that he was one guy who had a lot of common sense and feeling. And also, one thing I want to bring to mind or bring to your attention is this nice magazine that I got last year from makers of Uncut magazine. Basically, it tells the whole history and life of David Bowie, and it was a nice read. And just again, you read this and you see the life that he lived and all the things he did, and you can't help but just be taken back by what he's done as a person. If anything, David Bowie is the type of guy who says, do what you want to do and do as many things as you want to, because you're sure to be a success at one thing. And yet this guy did he did 5, 10 things, and he just kept on working and just did things because he couldn't just sit down and not do something. He had to do something all the time. And so that kind of productive and active, proactive personality, that's just, again, another part of his inspirational life. And another thing to talk about is also the his latest and last album that he did, which was Black Star. And in particular, the song Black Star, I think it's a nice last swan song for David Bowie, especially in the main chorus where he sings in this bright, shiny voice, and then the following lines saying he's not a gangster, he's not this star, that star, he's just a black star. I think that was a sign of someone who was coming full circle with his life and his career, and just it probably would have been the last album and the last major song he ever did, because it sounded like it had that that in-game quality to it. All right, so that'll be all for now, and I'll see you guys later. And one last thing. Thank you so much, David Bowie, for what